like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off. You can
also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy a merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. We are in the very beginning stages of the DJ Ben live streams. See up there. This is good.
Cut off the little tops of the fingers and stuff. Yeah, so he's got some, I think, old metal, or maybe more underground metal. I'm not sure.
Let me read.
Let's just check on it.
What it said.
Right there.
Yeah, here it is. Tonight we'll be banging our heads to some lesser-known bands from a few genres, mostly heavy, one not so much. Song number 1, dear listener, check it out. Phrenetix from Lithuania have only released 2 albums so far. I didn't like their first album, but loved the second album, Exuvaie.
I wonder why you gave it a second try after the first album. You didn't like it.
Yeah, I know, that's a commitment.
Yeah.
This is the title track of that album. That means that the name of the song is the same as the name of the album.
Okay.
So when they say it's a title track, that's what we're talking about.
Okay, got it.
Phrenetix Exuvaie. I'm assuming that has something to do with powder or something like that, right?
Ben just said something.
Exuvaie. Please take off elevator background music. All right, well, listen, guys. If you guys do the streams, you get it to go exactly the way you want it to go.
You're the boss for the night.
Having said that, let's check it out. Song number 1. This is the Lithuanian band. I didn't even know Lithuania had band. Phrenetix Exuvaie. Let's try it out there, listener. We're supposed to skip to the 4-minute mark.
Oh, right.
Because this is an entire record.
I forgot.
He did the Middle Earth method. Because Middle Earth does that all the time. He'll just download the whole album and he'd be like, hey,
skip to this point.
Yeah. All right, guys, give us a second. We got to get right to the 4-minute mark. Once we get to the 4-minute mark, then we're gonna listen. Then we're gonna reread the intro, inshallah. So we got a sneak peek of this band and what they're about. So now I know what kind of metal I should expect. Yeah. This is good.
That's the beginning of the album. Now you know.
All right, guys, here we go. Here we go. Lithuanian band in the house. Let's check it out again. Hold on. Let me turn up my volume all the way to 10. All right. We're up to 10. And let's do it. I thought they were going to come straight with the heat, but okay.
So did I.
Wait. Wait. Sori's gonna go and put up a battery into our camera. Okay, so we've got a link. Okay, sending the email. Yeah, because that's what I'm looking for right now. Because I'm like, damn, we're gonna miss out on a lot of what this dude is saying if we don't get these lyrics, bruh. And they're sent to us in email, so I'm gonna we're gonna wait for 2 seconds. They're gonna come to us in email, and then we're gonna get them. Because I don't want us to miss out on what dude is actually saying. Because I feel like what they're saying is important. Okay, so he emailed you. He sent an email to us for the lyrics. That song was, I think Neil, or was it Archero? Archero made the comment about, like, it was a little bit all over the place. You know, the transitions were a little bit,
Yeah, Neil said something about you said Neil said that?
Yeah, the transitions were a little bit abrupt.
Come out.
Not necessarily, you know. Tool, I feel like, is a master at those transitions. Like, they do stuff, and then out of nowhere, you're in a completely different space. You don't know how you got there.
Exactly.
I feel like Tool has that down pretty good. All right, here we go. Got the lyrics. All right, we got the lyrics. What did you think of the music while I'm trying to get these lyrics up here?
I thought it was interesting. I didn't notice the choppy transitions. I just noticed people saying it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for me,
you thought they were smooth, like the way they went from verse to chorus?
I'm just saying I didn't pick up on that today. So
Gotcha.
it might be like the particular mood that I'm in. Like it was just kind of like it fit for me. So I mean, I believe you guys if you're saying the transitions are a little off or odd or whatever. But I didn't experience that. I didn't feel that way when I was listening to it. There was female vocals in the back that were kind of like.
Yeah, the main vocalist is a female.
Yeah, I liked her vocals. They were kind of like distant sounding and.
Yeah, they were. Whatever that effect was.
Yeah, it was cool.
They went with it, and it fit with the song for sure. Which is funny because I generally don't like stuff like that. I don't like effects on the vocals, which is kind of hypocritical because, like, I have millions of effects on guitar. But I don't like effects on vocals. It's so funny. I feel like if a person is like operating with effects with vocals, I'm like, oh, they can't really sing. But then it's like, most of the shit I do on my guitar, I can't really play. Yeah.
Well, I think the reason I prefer not to have effects on vocals is because I want to hear like the sound of a human instead of another instrument, because it almost makes the human an instrument if there's effects on it.
Agree.
In my opinion, so. I don't know what the lyrics like.
One time I was enraged. It felt so unfaked. Now keep in mind, these folks are Lithuanians.
Oh, right. Okay.
English is not their first language. Just keep that in mind. One time I was enraged. It felt so unfaked. Then came family with disease. Frequently I learned how the words to speak no more. From my heart and bones, no remorse, hear the call. So the English is a little bit, acing tactical from what we're used to because that's not their mother tongue. So chill out.
So basically saying one time I was like really, really angry and it felt real. And then he said, then came his family with disease. Then people got sick in his family.
Well, I learned how with words to speak no more. I think what he's saying is his true self, something happened where at the core of his being, he was genuinely angry. And he remembers back in that time because anger is a negative emotion, but at least it was real and he was being real, right? But then it says his family came along with a disease. What was the disease? I learned how with words to speak no more from my heart.
Oh no.
So they taught him how to go through all that bullshit, but then to speak words that were not authentic and close to your heart, basically. And so his family was coming in, it looks like he's saying his family came in and was basically like swooped in and basically said, stop saying all this stuff, stop communicating this stuff this way.
Yeah, there's usually one person in a family.
There's
usually one person in a family that's trying to they're usually considered the black sheep. You're the one you have a problem
right?
and you're the one talking, and they're trying to tell you, be quiet, don't say that out, don't do this, whatever.
Yeah, and that was definitely the dynamic for me growing up, for sure. And of course, when you're the black sheep, you always think that you had it the toughest. And you don't realize that, no, the person that had to play this role in the family system had it way tougher than you. Because there were things that my brother could not say. Because he had the role of the good guy, the golden boy in the family. So there are things that he could not say that he had to rely on me to say, you know, on his behalf. Not like specifically for him, but everything that we were feeling, everybody knew eventually Vin's going to lose it and just say what everybody's thinking. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then I bore the consequences for that, and having Caribbean parents, I mean, the consequences are generally swift.
Very literal.
But, like, I was willing to, but so that gave me the impression that I had the hardest time growing up. You see what I'm saying? Because I dealt with those consequences. A lot of times there are physical consequences, but now that I look at it, of course not. Like, it's definitely my older brother had it the worst because this happened to him. You see what I'm saying? And it was like, because of who I was, he needed to be that extreme on the other side. Because I was so extreme on the other side. And if any of us were going to make it, he would have had to be that way. But that basically, you can just write off your childhood at that point. I still had a childhood. I just got in trouble a lot. But I still had a childhood from my vantage point. But when I look at my brother, I can't see how he ever really had a childhood. Because I was looking to him to figure this shit out since we came to the country, which, I mean, that's 4 years old. He's only 3 years older than me, but it was all him.
Yeah.
Because I learned very quickly, like my stepdad, like, you know, we were cool, everybody was cool, but like, it was clear, like I was a stepkid, like, you know what I'm saying? So I knew I'm not going to get any guidance from that guy. And so like, immediately, like, it was my brother. You know, so I'm like, far back as like 7 years old, he's got like all this pressure. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. He definitely had it the hardest. Shout out to Tommy, Markinen. I hope I didn't butcher your name. But yeah,
wow!
man.
Look at how then he goes. Enter misery, like it sounds like it's like a play. Enter misery. Come here, dance with me. Morbid victory of purgatory in me.
Brilliant line. Because that's true, man. Like, when you're that kind of person, you're always in a state of purgatory. Purgatory is like the in-between stage between the earth and heaven, right? So in Catholicism, I mean, in the Bible, it says that Jesus died for your sins, and the Hebrews 10, by one sacrifice, he has perfected forever those who are being made holy. So biblically speaking, the moment you believe in Christ with a sincere heart, you have been perfected in God's sight. But Roman Catholicism doesn't have that kind of theology. In their theology, yeah, Jesus died for you and took away your sins, but after you got saved, you have a bunch of other, you know, issues on your account, and what do you do with the sins on that, with those remaining sins? And what we would say is, well, Jesus died for us, you know, and it applies beyond time and eternity, and so
yeah.
All of my sins are covered.
He's an eternal being. His sacrifice is eternal, and so it's forever.
It also covers my future sins. But the Catholics say no, because if you tell people that, they're going to do whatever they want. And so now you've got this place called purgatory. And in purgatory, if you end up there, you're definitely going to go to heaven. But you're going to suffer for an undeterminate period of time to burn out those remaining sins so that you can get to heaven. So being in a purgatorial state is sort of this like in-between state where like you want to get somewhere, but you can't get there, and there's suffering attached to the waiting. And so when he says, enter misery, come here, dance with me, morbid victory of purgatory in me. So like this person is always in the middle.
Yeah.
And he's always paying for his sins, whatever that may be, which leads to the isolation and the anger and all that. So hard to withstand. Past is what I'm becoming. Morbid victory of nothing but fear.
Damn.
Ooh. This dude's going through it.
So, when he says past is what I'm becoming, what do you get from that?
I think the people that taught him all that stuff when he said enter family,
Enter
that
misery.
all happened.
Enter misery?
Yeah, well, the first one where he mentioned his family at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
before he mentioned misery.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what he's talking about because he's looking back. See, one time I was enraged, so the stuff, then came family. So I think for him, the timeline is that was his childhood. And so now as an adult, when it says past is what I'm becoming, that makes sense because he learned all that stuff in his past. And when you're a kid,
so he's saying I'm following through with that even as an adult.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Because anytime you go through that as a kid, every kid does that. They go, I'm never going to let that happen.
Yeah.
Or that's never going to happen to me or blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you don't realize as a kid that your parents are, you know, manifesting those pathologies because they got them from their parents and everybody's saying the same thing. Unless you actively decide that you're going to go in there and change that story or whatever, you're absolutely going to repeat whatever it is that you were taught by word or deed. Mm-hmm. But what were your thought processes about when you talk about morbid victory of nothing but fear?
Oh.
That was a line that was pretty crazy to me.
That means... that's actually a little bit of a confusing line to me because it sounds like... Because you don't win when you're fearful. So, I don't know if he's saying like the...
No, what's winning is the fear inside of him.
Morbid victory of nothing
but fear. Nothing but fear in me. So I took that to mean that winning. Fear has the victory over him.
Yeah, actually that's probably the simplest interpretation of that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which if you look at the stanzas, you have morbid victory, right, as the second to last line. But the first morbid victory is purgatory. The second morbid victory is fear. Mm-hmm. Which... And then go ahead.
Then he says, all I want is to scream. I have silenced so much in me. To say things till you bleed. Don't have the wound on me. Don't have this wound on me. Kill you instead of me. This crime will bring ecstasy. Feel that I can be. I'll pay the price with your misery. I think that, like, for me, that kind of sounds like, obviously, he hasn't been communicating. Well, he was told not to communicate.
Right.
So, he hasn't been communicating. And in not communicating...
It's mind-boggling to me, man.
What?
How many parents actively teach their children not to communicate?
Yeah.
Holy smoke! I thought that was, you know, in New York, there's a big primer on being real, being authentic. You see what I'm saying? And so, like, if you ever like got caught being fake, even being fake, like hi, like a friend of me type thing, like in New York, the people just get at you. Oh, you fake, you know, like. All the fake shit was like really detrimental to you in New York City. So when we came up from New York to here, we're like the culture is the complete opposite almost. It looks like you're not supposed to be genuine about nothing or express any sort of genuine, you know, dislike of anything. Like it was definitely a culture shock. You know, it took me years to like wrap my mind around it. But yeah, wow. like that's crazy. But yeah, that's what happens. Like when you let.
Can you scroll up? My world gets destroyed by default, and then what?
Conceal and avoid.
So basically, is he saying like if he says something and he's like because he's having this internal wound because he's not expressing himself and talking, but then he's like, but once
Girl, take that boy into the bathtub, please.
Yeah, let him have a bath.
Okay, so here's the last stanza because the other one got cut off a little bit. All I want is to scream. I have silenced so much in me to say things till you bleed. Don't have this wound on me. Kill you instead of me. This crime will bring an ecstasy. Feel that I can be. I'll pay the price for your misery.
With your misery, but you think it's for?
I'll pay the price with your misery. My world gets destroyed by default, conceited and avoided, my true self. Hate is joy. I can do everything in my mind, you scream. No more internally. Crime sets free. I welcome you.
Wow.
For a long time, I was closed. Time to discharge. No one will enjoy except me. I will hold your head in my arms. Loose from carcass. This breath is your last.
Well, that took a dark turn. I knew the man was upset, but I didn't know it was going there.
Holy smokes. He got mega dark.
Yeah.
Mega dark.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I take a lot of this metaphorical. I don't think, and I think he makes it very, very clear when he says it right here. All I want is to scream. I've silenced so much in me to say things till you bleed. So the instrument that he's using to cause the bloodshed are words. Okay?
Yeah, but it's the words he hasn't been saying.
Right, but if you carry that down, the killing imagery, the wounding imagery is verbal. It's not physical. He's not saying, "I'm going to take out a knife and stab you to death." You can see right there on that stanza right there where he says, "I want to scream, communication vocally. I have silenced, lack of vocal communication, to say things till you bleed. So you guys stopped me from talking. You put a muzzle on me, and I went along with it, but now I'm not going to. And the first thing I'm going to do is open my mouth. You're going to bleed because my words are going to harm you.
Mm-hmm. Kill you instead of me.
Kill you instead of me, which means don't have this wound on me. I'm getting blamed for whatever, and so I'm going to say things that's going to make it so that you have to deal with it, and then I will pay the price with your misery." Whether it's for your misery or with your misery, I mean, there's just some people where, like, it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. If you cross them, you're going to pay.
Uh-huh.
And so he's saying, I'm okay with that now. I'm okay. I'm willing to deal with that misery if it's going to make you upset.
Yeah, because he's held it in for so long. The trouble with holding stuff in, even though, you know, he was instructed to do that by people that were teaching him, apparently. When you're taught that, and you have to come out of that way of thinking, I guess, when you're so used to not communicating, then there's things that happen or things that people say. Like, for instance, I think that some of the wounds that he carries, that he's like, I'm not carrying this anymore, like, you're going to feel it, might not have been wounds that needed to be carried. But because stuff wasn't talked about, assumptions are made, and then stuff piles on top of other stuff. And then when you start connecting things in your head that may or may not be true, you can get a really bad picture of people. I don't know his family situation, but if you go over and over of not talking, then you don't know where anything really is at. And so you can think somebody has a problem with something based off of your own projections, and they may not even have an issue with it. But I do think that anytime somebody holds in their communication, there is usually a blow-up point where all of a sudden they're like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
And it's not very effective as far as actual communication.
See, that's my thing. Is like, if you're one of those people that let people convince you not to be communicative, like, when you get that growth that you shouldn't have went along with it, you should also save some of that anger for yourself. Like, because what ends up happening is people go the other way and just go let off on everybody. When in the reality is, especially if you're an adult, at some level you went along with it. Take accountability for that, because if you do, it'll protect you from becoming that silly, bitter person who overreacts and goes the other side, and now you're a dick to everybody. And then everybody's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? This is not how what are you doing? And then you can say, well, now that I'm being real, see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So you gotta apply some wisdom, man. Especially if you're an adult. I understand if you're a kid, your parents kind of impose their will on you to a degree. But, if you're a grown man or a grown woman, like, and you still went along with that shit, like, the best thing to do is say, I went along with that shit, hold yourself most accountable, and put most of your energy into reforming yourself. Because if you put most of your energy into reforming other people, you're just going to get really angry and really tired.
I think that's
accurate. It's not going to work.
That's accurate.
Worry about yourself, dear listener. I actually like this song. I agree. It was a little bit... Some of the transitions didn't make perfect sense to me perfectly. I felt like they were trying to say a lot. But I always like when bands get ambitious. As long as it's not like crossing the line into pretentiousness, I'm going to actually reward some of the ambition. So for me, it's going to be a 9.2. And it was a solid 8.8, but it's a 9.2 because of the ambition.
8.9 for me.
All right, guys, we have literally just begun. Let me switch this thing so this computer is not as chippy. And then we're going to be on commercial break. And then after that, you guys know the deal. We're coming right back to you with more metal goodness if I can figure out this hotspot situation. Vin out.
Sori out.
Go.